Hey guys, welcome back, and last time we got some post. What we got?
Porque siempre me pasa esto.
Oh, shit. Concrete death. What you got for us, Carlos? Days spent in prison could be boring. At noon, while the sun was right in the middle of the sky, Jin and Qiang got into an argument with each other in the yard again. In a couple of minutes, they would start to brawl, and everyone else in the yard, inmates and guards alike, would become spectators. It had turned into a daily routine. I sat under a tree, far away from the ruckus. I wore my hat low and put my hands in my pockets, hoping to hide my nervousness from the guards and other curious inmates. I've been in prison for almost half a month. At first I thought I'd been arrested for wandering the streets in a woman's clothing. There's a strange reason to be arrested in Hong Kong, but I simply couldn't think of any other possibilities. Never would I have ever imagined that another possibility could exist. They finally told me I'd been arrested for murder. This is beyond ridiculous. In 10 Commandments of the Catholic Church, the 5th Commandment, thou shalt not kill. How could I possibly have committed murder? And the person who accused me of killing, I'd never even met him before. Ren used to tell me stories about how gangs would sometimes send some of our own young boys to confess of crimes of their bosses. But usually I would at least get the story straight first. Why hadn't I heard anything in advance? I tried to send messages outside, hoping to get in touch with Mr. Kwan or any real people in the group. But I hadn't heard anything back. Just when I was starting to lose hope, an unexpected visitor came to see me. It was so brave and nice for Yi to visit. She was wearing a light green Xiangsam, and even more beautiful than what I remembered. Her hair hadn't grown back yet, but she still looked good. Yi told me that after I'd saved her from the auction house, she'd been worried about me. She had sent one of some blood gang back to Pitt Street 99 to ask about me. They found out that I'd never been back there ever since. Coincidentally, the man Yi sent ran into Ren. Ren had been worried about me too, and also happened to know Yi's men. So Ren went with him to a blood gang and told Yi everything he knew. I was arrested by the police the same day that I'd helped Yi escape. Mr. Kwan heard from the auction house about what I'd done. He was outraged, but before he sent people to come after me, he got a phone call from the secretary of Mr. Lin. In the phone call, he was told it had been arranged for me to stay in prison. From then on, whatever happened to me should not concern with group loyalty anymore. Mr. Kwan and me did not know for sure how I'd offended the bosses so much. Based on the instructions I'd heard, I suspected I wouldn't have much longer to live. Ren gave Yi all my personal belongings that I'd left with the group, hoping she could bring them to me when she visited. Yi's fingers accidentally touched my phone when she was showing me her things, lit up. A woman with curly red hair appeared on my screen. One of the blood gang members with us immediately recognised her. What? Do you know my sister? I couldn't contain my excitement and jumped up from the chair. Stay quiet! The guy behind me stepped forward and pushed me back down. Yi unlocked her own phone and turned the screen towards me after a few clicks. I saw a list of people without a name, but only a photo, followed by a string of digits. I read through the list one by one and stopped on the 5th person. She looked so much like my big sis, but her name was labelled Dragon. That's quite a coincidence. Your sister last contacted you from Hong Kong, right? Well, she's never left. She's now one of the top assassins in the field. There's an $8 million bounty on her head. Dragon is her code name. Jin and Qiang finally started fighting. Cheers erupted around them. All the other inmates and guards were gathering around them. I stuck into a storage room in a corner of the yard while no one else was watching. I long noticed this one lock inside the storage room was full of random things that had not been claimed in a long time. I opened the lock with one hand and pulled my other hand completely out of my pocket. I'd been holding some tools in my palm, which were completely as wet as I'd been sweating nervously the whole time. The tools had been brought in by Yi. She had hidden them inside the toiletries she gave me. She told me to use these tools to break out of prison. She also said my being arranged was not going into prison, probably had something to do with my sister. So I might be using me as leverage to blackmail her. Or it could be revenge on her by punishing me. Whichever the case was, I needed to get out of here as soon as possible. Unfortunately, the Black Dragon gang was in control of this prison, so Yi and the Blood Gang couldn't just break me out of here. Therefore, I had to do that part myself. Once I was out, the Blood Gang would assist me in any way they could. So, a prison break? Was I capable of something like that? Never mind whether or not the guards would catch me if I tried. My cellmate alone would probably ruin the whole thing before I even got started. Nevertheless, I decided to hide the tools well in advance. Even if someone discovered them here, they wouldn't be able to trace them back to me. As for my sister, I needed more time to think about this new information. Maybe I could find out while I was still inside. I was just about to close the locker when I heard some footsteps on the wheels rubbing against the ground outside. We're getting closer and closer to a storage room. Crap, please don't be the guards. I hastily hid inside the locker and closed it. I could still see a little of what was going on outside. A blond man in prison uniform pushed a cart inside and closed the door. With a few bags of concrete in my cart, heard of a new prison building under construction. Lots of inmates were assigned to work on the site. He must be one of them. He started in revolver bags. 1, 2, 3. Another inmate was under the bags. His mouth was gagged and his limbs were tied up. I found and recognised both of them. The blonde one was said to be an infamous serial killer. Everyone called him Pie, and he had been sentenced to life. The other one Pie had just dragged out of a card and tossed on the ground was Kai. He was a serial rapist, who had been sentenced to 20 years for over 14 assaults. He was lying there, barely conscious. It wasn't unusual for inmates to have a go at each other. However, Kai seemed to be completely knocked out. Our yard time will be over in half an hour. If I stay near too long, it might be hard to sneak out. If Pie found me hiding in a locker, that might be even worse. Pie put on his gloves. I swallowed nervously. He pinned Kai to the ground and choked his neck, until Kai eventually stopped moving. And opened the locker. He noticed me. Pie grabbed me by the collar and dragged me out of the locker and chopped me on the neck with his bare hand. Unimaginable pain traveled from my neck and head. I could feel my brain being cut off from the rest of my body before I blacked out. When I woke up, I found myself stuck inside a book bag. Everything below my chest had been submerged in concrete, which not completely hardened, but the pressure on my chest was making it almost impossible to breathe. Stopped me from making any sounds. It also sealed my lips with a piece of cloth soaked with concrete. I wrapped my body as hard as I could and fell to the ground. And I saw another bag which had been filled with solid concrete right before my eyes. The weird shape of a bag convinced me that Kai must be inside it. It was late at night. Pie would probably come back early in the morning and finish the job. Then he would throw these 2 bags of our bodies inside them into the foundation of a new building and pour some more concrete over both of our coffins. No one would ever know. I had nothing to do with this. I was just here to hide something. How could I end up like this? Oh, Pie, why would you do this to me again? Okay, so I'm going to try and jump on him whilst he's holding Kai down. I made up my mind and came out of the locker. Kai looked surprised when he saw me, but he soon passed out because of the pain. Hey, don't you think that he's suffered enough? He'll be 60 by the time he can get out. He will die alone for sure. I'll certainly regret what he did with his youth. Killing him now is actually showing him mercy, right? You don't really have to do this. I inched closer to the door as I was speaking. I needed to stay as far away from this lunatic as I could. I didn't really have any sympathy for Kai. I'd heard he'd been raped some 50-year-old woman. By that count, he might still hurt people if he was released at 60. Pie seemed to be pondering my words. Huh. Who knew that lunatics could think too? When I was only 2 steps away from the door, he spoke. You make a good point. But I still think he should suffer a little more. What he did next paralysed me. I stood on there completely stunned, watching Pie perform an unbelievable operation on Kai. He made sure that Kai would never be able to assault anyone ever again. Kai was eventually sent to a medical officer of a prison. Both Pie and I were brought into a warden's office later. I expect that Kai had said something to the guards. However, everyone knew that Pie was a tough character, so neither of the inmates or guards dared mess with him. But all afraid of Pie would one day mysteriously murder him, therefore he got out of trouble scot-free. Same thing couldn't be said for me. I was soon transferred to a solitary cell with high security. Breaking out of prison was looking more and more unlikely. So I live, but escaping is not really an option anymore. So Kai started moving, then I'm going to open the locker. Pie was still focused on Kai, paying no attention to this person who just jumped out of the locker. Heard that Pie was mentally ill, but diagnosis came back normal. Some people said diagnosis must have been forged. There was plenty of people who hated him. Nevertheless, seeing the twisted expression in his face right now, I was certain the normal diagnosis must be fake. In any case, as long as he hadn't noticed me, I figured I should just sneak out. Into the door slowly and steadily, turned around very carefully. When I was only 2 steps away from the door, I felt a breeze on the back of my neck and my body stopped responding to anything. And with a ball bag. Wish you would just punch me instead. Concrete had gone over my nose. Okay, so you want me to speak to him, do you? Pi tied me up and tossed me aside after noticing me, and I watched Pi perform an unbelievable operation. It wasn't done. Pi stuffed a mutilated Kai into a bulk bag, started pouring concrete. Kai was soon completely covered in concrete. No longer existed in this world. When Pi grabbed another empty bag and walked towards me. Soon I would no longer exist in this world either. Okay. So I swallowed nervously and opened the locker. Okay, we've literally got one result I haven't got yet. Let's try this. I'm going to do the classic try everything. I'm going to keep Kite up first of all. Ooh! I got it. I made up my mind and came out of a locker. I looked at the unconscious Kai, hoping he was still alive. Hey, don't you think that he's suffered enough? He'll be 6 next time he can get out. Certain regret he did in his youth. Killing him now is actually showing him mercy. I was close to the door as I was speaking. I need to stay as far away from this lunatic as I could. I don't really have any sympathy for Kai. I just heard he'd been raped some 50-year-old woman. By that count, he might still hurt people if he was released at 60. Pi seemed to be pondering my words. Who knew lunatics could think? There was only 2 steps away from the door he spoke. You make a good point, but I still think he should stuff a little more. Why he did next paralyse me. I stood there completely stunned watching Pi take my brand new dagger out of my locker, use it to cut off Kai's private part. He then rubbed some concrete on his wound. Next he covered Kai's severed private part with concrete and stuffed it into Kai's hand. Kai was still unconscious the whole time. There's something that a normal person will never witness in my entire life. I was in such shock I completely forgot about escaping. After he was done, Pi asked me what I'd been doing in my locker while cleaning the blood off the floor. Still couldn't move, dare not lie beside in front of me. I told him everything. He finished his cleaning, walked up to me and put an arm around my shoulder. The cloth with his right hand, soaked with Kai's blood. He even brushed against my frozen face. A prison break. Sounds like fun. Count me in. Oh joy. Is that really a good thing? Oh joy. Let's see what we got in the post, shall we?
Porque siempre me pasa esto.
Another Carlos one. Let's do that next time, shall we? Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll join you next time for more. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.